Amir now joins us for more. Amir, first of all, tell us about the exact role under which the Samajwadi Party leader is in a scanner in this case. And what do we know about the party now coming out and saying that they have got nothing to do with it, with the person?
Well, Priya, Nizam Qureshi, of course, is one of the accused in the matter of violence that we saw in Kanpur just last Friday. And therefore, his role definitely is under the scanner because he's one of those influential accused persons who had their say within the community, who had been leading the community in many ways. Not just was he a part of the Samajwadi Party, in fact, he was an office bearer here, a district level secretary within the Samajwadi Party's Kanpur unit. He also has his other platform as well. He's also a member of the All India Jamiatul Quresh, an organization which actually works for people who come in from the Qureshi community, and especially the ones who are into the meat business. So therefore, he's an influential person here, and the police does believe that apart from Zafar Hayat Hashmi, he also had a major role to play in terms of provoking people to go ahead and protest and perhaps also indulge in violence. Now, this aspect is under investigation, and therefore the police is not coming out in the open and speaking in detail about his role, the exact role that he might have played behind the violence. But yes, perhaps tomorrow or in a couple of days, police will have details to share with the media, and then we would be able to pinpoint the exact role that he might have played behind the initial protests and the resultant violence. Well, as far as his role within the Samajwadi Party is concerned, initially there was no word from the Samajwadi Party. Obviously, they seem to have been taken aback about one of their own members having been named as an accused in the Kanpur violence. But yes, after that, this afternoon itself, we spoke to the district president of the Samajwadi Party, and he came up with a new clarification. He said that Qureshi had been expelled from the party on the 20th May itself, about 15 days back, because he was not involving himself into the party activities. He was not taking interest in party activities, and therefore he was expelled from the party and devoid of his position that he had within the party. So obviously it does seem to have come, as an afterthought to the Samajwadi Party leadership, coming up with this excuse that he no more belongs to the Samajwadi Party. But then this cannot be denied that he was actually a part of the Samajwadi Party till very recently.
Right.
And therefore, the Samajwadi Party cannot clearly distance itself from how he had conducted himself over the last few weeks.
Imran, before Amir, I'm sorry, before I let you go, one quick question about Imran Pratapgarhi, and there are other leaders and this person's connection also with the Congress party that we are learning about. Tell us a little bit about that.
This is not about Qureshi. In fact, this is about Zafar Hayat Hashmi, who had in fact been with the Congress party earlier. In fact, he poses himself as the UP level secretary of the youth wing of the Congress party. In fact, we found out a number of photographs which also serve as evidences that he was a part of the Congress party and was actively involved into party activities. There were a number of occasions when he's seen addressing people in gatherings that were called, on the platform of the Congress party, wherein there are posters of Priyanka Gandhi, the UPCC chief Ajay Kumar Lallu behind him, and his party membership, other leadership of the party also concedes that he in fact was a part of the Congress party. But over the last couple of years, he perhaps had distanced himself from the party because he had come up with his own platform, an association called Maulana Muhammad Ali Jauhar Fans Association, and therefore he had perhaps made distance from the Congress party. But the fact that he was seen in various photographs, like the one with Imran Pratapgarhi, shows his closeness with the leadership of the Congress party, and therefore again in his case as well, the Congress party also cannot deny that he served as a member, an active member at that, of the party.
Right. Thank you, Amir, for joining us with your insights on that matter to understand what really are going to be the implications of these political links that are emerging. Now, I'm joined on this broadcast by Tushar Gupta, who's the senior editor of Swarajya, and then there is Dr. Akashdeep Muni, political analyst. First, coming to you, Mr. Muni, what do you think of not one, but two, but now three political linkages coming in of riots that ravaged Kanpur? We know that there were meetings that were held apparently where all this was pre-planned. There were provocative speeches that were given. Police sources are now saying that there were videos of Kashmiri stone pelting in Kashmir that were being used to incite youth to indulge in violence.
See, the issue is, we have to understand the issue at hand. The issue is not of violence. Obviously, violence has taken place. I acknowledge, and everybody has seen it. But the issue is of the hate speech and continuous hate speech that is going on in this country.
But
and just see who is doing it.
Yeah, whose hate speech, sir? Which leader's hate speech incited Kanpur?
I will tell you. There has been a number of hate speech, and if you go through, then you'll be finding that the hate speeches are mainly, and why this all violence has taken place? Because of the hate speech by a particular spokesperson today who is not the spokesperson or not the party member of Bharatiya Janata Party, and she has been expelled out of Bharatiya Janata Party.
Is that so, sir?
And it is sad, yes.
And not at all because there were some people who went around spreading WhatsApps and calling people to hide CCTV footage while they indulge in CCTV cameras while they indulge in violence?
Yeah, of course, that has been the case. But you have to understand the spur of the moment where it has started. And it started from that particular speech by that particular spokesperson of Bharatiya Janata Party. And you know, this has been continuing for such a long time.
Mr. Tushar Gupta, it is one BJP spokesperson speaking on television, making one remark that has led to over 800 people today being booked, being under the scanner, several policemen and several people being injured. Why are you busy blaming PFI, Congress, Samajwadi Party?
Absolutely, Priya. You know, I'll take the line of sarcasm here. Perhaps my fellow co-panelist believes that it's okay to cause violence, to go on the roads and say tongues will be slit, people will be butchered.
Did I say that? Did I say that?
Providing a justification to the violence.
No, did I say that? No, I have not.
In our constitution, in our legal setup. I did not interrupt you. I did not interrupt you. Sir,
okay, fine.
I did not interrupt you.
Okay,
I did not interrupt you. Let me complete. Let me complete. You are saying that the violence today can be attributed to the hate speech of the particular spokesperson in question. Are you telling me that the country's legal system, the country's judicial system, the country's entire police force is incapable of dealing with hate speech if there is one? Who are the people to decide that they are going to react against the hate speech on the ground? Are there laws to prevent it? If they're so provoked, if they're so disgusted, if they're so disappointed by the hate speech made by the particular spokesperson, they can approach the courts. They can approach police. They can file FIRs in whichever state they want to. It's not like it doesn't happen. But where is it written in the Constitution? Where is it written in the Constitution of common sense, perhaps if there is one, that it's okay to get on the streets, tell people that tongue will be slit, people will be butchered if our God is named or our God is criticized? By your logic, sir, and your logic alone, 1 billion Hindus should be on the street just because of all the fun that has been made of the shivling that was found in the Gyanvapi structure. So tomorrow morning, should 1 billion Hindus in India and across the world be on the road because you believe that hate speech is a justification for the violence, which is not consistent?
Now, Tusharji, you have said much. Now let me reply because you have attributed things to me. Now, first and foremost thing, I have never said that violence can be there can be excuse for violence. Violence is bad and it should not be done. It has to be cracked down by the police, and nobody here to give excuse for the violence. And there has been people on which the police has made a crackdown. But there is one big but here, that what is the spur that created this violence? And of course, hate speech is there. And you also know. And if there
Whose hate
Hindu.
sir.
And listen. I'm a practicing Hindu. If tomorrow some hate monger speech against my religion, my culture, obviously I'll be infuriated. Obviously, I'll not go for
Will
any
you go on the
violence
street?
measures, but I'll be
Exactly.
infuriated.
on the street.
So as a responsible citizen of this country, when you are infuriated,
let me complete.
what do you do?
This infuriation has come from that particular spokesperson. I want to ask Tusharji to name that spokesperson who has spoken against it. Name the spokesperson.
I think the question is not of what Dr. Sharma said or did not say. My question to you is...
Tusharji, listen to me carefully. Now listen to me carefully. One thing. If tomorrow, do you condemn that, whatever the spokesperson said or not? Tell me. Do you condemn it?
I do not agree with it. Yes, I do not agree with
Do
it.
you condemn it?
But I also do not agree. No, but I also do not agree with what is being said about the shooting. So you have to listen. Sir, you cannot interrupt. You cannot go on a rampage here.
Go ahead.
The question is, I do not agree with what the spokesperson said, but I also do not agree with what Munawar Farooqi says about God Ram and Goddess Sita. I also do not agree what has been said about the Shivling. I also do not agree with what has been said about the Ram Mandir. I also do not agree what is being said about other Hindu gods like Lord Ganesha by the CEO of a news organization. I do not agree with all those things. But does it mean that I get on the streets and have then someone say on national television, oh, because that person made that particular remark, violence is justified? Are you justifying violence or not? You are attributing it to the hate
not
speech.
justifying violence. Violence
Right, Mr. Muni, since you are not justifying violence, can I please ask you one question? What is the kind of action that you would want to be taken against Mr. Zafar Hayat? Or the people who come out and say that heads will be chopped off, eyes will be gouged out, and we will not tolerate any insults to our Prophet?
I think the law, whatever the CRPC laws are there, they should take stringent action against this person who is speaking like this. This is not the words should be spoken on TV or on public place. But one thing, I am sure that the police will take stringent action against the spokespersons also who speak language which is not viable for the public sphere. Even I don't speak language like this.
Right. So
Priya, I want to ask a larger question also about the PFI, which we are ignoring here. People say that PFI sponsors all these protests because they are trying to call out the intolerance of the government. I want to ask, what kind of intolerance was PFI fighting while funding the anti-CA protest? What kind of intolerance was the PFI fighting when they were funding armed terror groups in South India? What kind of intolerance were they fighting when they were encouraging conversion? What kind of intolerance were they fighting when young boys in their rally were saying that every non-Muslim should be put to a genocide? You know, these are the bigger questions we need to ask. We can easily attribute it to the hate speech of one spokesperson or one party. But the truth is, this party has stood with the minorities more than any other party has in the history of independent India. That no one will talk about.
And as we stand now, unfortunately, gentlemen, I'm running out of time. This debate is going to be unending. Some very valid questions being raised by both sides, but we unfortunately need to take a very quick break at this point.